All right, greetings. We made a discovery. Here I am on this is the poultry field. We are on the downward slope here. This is our last group of chickens and then our turkeys, right? So the last group of chickens, they're going to be ready in a couple of weeks and they'll be out of here. And then we're done with chickens for the growing season. And one of the things that we've been looking at here, I wouldn't say struggling with, but Uh, because we have the chickens on this field, we move those chicken tractors every day. Oh, my AirPod just poached. Right, well, fine. No AirPod. Love technology. Uh, because we have the chicken tractors on here and we're moving them every day, we're laying down a lot of manure. And what happens is the grass in here just goes berserk. It really grows well. And so then you have a little bit of a struggle moving the chicken tractors because the grass is so high. So, well, okay, I guess we could cut this and bale it and then store it in the barn. I'm not comfortable doing that because, I'll turn this around so you can see them. I'm not comfortable doing that because, this is not the way I usually orientate my phone, but my phone decided that it wants to be orientated this way, and it's hard for me to hold it this way. Yeah, more whining. But this grass grows so well that then we have trouble moving the chicken tractors. So baling it and putting it in the barn is not an option for me because we're putting so much chicken manure on it. I just feel if I bale that manure up and then store it in the barn, I'm asking for trouble. Nobody that I know can confirm or defend that confirm or deny that because nobody's doing this. So I just have to go with my own instinct. And my instinct is, no, I'm not going to do that. Because if I had a problem with it, I might not even know what the problem is until, we have a cow that goes down or something. Okay, I turned it around. So I'm not going to do it. And so I was coming out here with the mower and mowing this. And, we would mow it and collect it up and use it in the rows in the garden, which works out pretty good. In the spring, it works good. But we're not doing that this time of the year. The garden is established and it's growing and, we're not going to be putting anything in the rows at this time. So I would be mowing this and just leaving it lay. And it's a horrible waste, really, because you look at this grass, it's beautiful. It's just beautiful, lush and supple and nice and green. And so we got into sheep this year, and I wasn't sure how that was going to go exactly, where we were going to keep them, how we were going to use them. But the way it's working out is yesterday we put them in here with the chicken tractors. And the danger is that they will jump up on top of them or conspire with the chickens, We don't want any conspiracies going on here. We don't want these guys getting organized against us. Because if they do, we might wake up in the middle of the night and the house is full of chickens and sheep and all that. So we don't want that. But it appears as though the sheep are doing nothing more. This thing's not working as good as it usually does. They're not doing anything more than just being sheep and taking advantage of this grass. So the way we're managing them is with this 3 strands of poly wire here. It will probably turn into 1 strand of poly wire as soon as they've all gotten shocked a couple times. And it looks like they're fine. They're coexisting here with the other animals, and then they're going to keep this grass under control. And all the while, they'll turn this grass into sheep meat, I guess. So what I'm kind of excited about here, I guess, is that we've stumbled or figured a way to integrate two species on one field. The sheep are going to contribute to this. The chickens are contributing to this because the chickens are lending fertility to this field constantly. If you haven't seen how this works, these chicken tractors, we're moving them every day, so their manure is behind them. You can see that. And it was just yesterday that we moved the fence, and I said, hey, let's put the fence behind the chicken tractors and see how that works out. And it's worked out pretty good. They're working on a little bit of spilled feed here, and you can see there's a couple of chickens out as usual. That's just the way that goes, and then at night we pick them up and put them in. But the way this is going to work is there could be 3 times as many sheep out here, and they'll keep this grass down. We want that. The chickens will still partake in the grass as well. The chickens' manure will bolster the grass production here all the time. And then these little guys walking around, they're doing a number on the sod. They break it up and they open it up. Not as much as a cow would, but still they do well. And then as a side note, for further utilization, if you look over that way, that's the gate to the campground. And sheep, these types of sheep anyway, these are Katahdins. They're not aggressive animals at all. They move away. Even if they're friendly animals, they move away from people that they don't know really well. So once they're trained with a single strand of polywire, we'll be able to allow them through that gate, and we'll be able to groom the campground with these animals. And if there are campers in there, they're not aggressive animals, so it won't be a problem. I couldn't have cows in there with campers. That might not work out too well. The only problem would be an electric fence. Kids would touch the electric fence, but they only touch it once, and usually it doesn't kill them. I may have a problem here. This is what I was worried about. This is the buck, and he is real interested in the chicken's feed, but he cannot get in there. But he found a little bit of feed over here that was spilled today, and that's what he's super interested in. Yeah, that's what he's doing. He never lets me get this close to him. You can see he's got a back foot that's not in good shape. He tangled that up, 2 months ago, and it stayed tangled, I guess, for all night. And by the time he got it cut off, he did damage to his back foot. And we've been waiting to see what's going to happen. Treated him, and he's looking okay. I don't know if he's going to be able to breed the other animals. We just don't know yet. So we're waiting to find out. He never lets me get this close to him. I guess when it's feed that he's thinking about, he doesn't mind so much. Yeah, he's getting better on that foot. It was pretty bad at first. We thought we might have to put him down and replace him, but I think he'll do okay. These animals will be out here in this vicinity for the winter. We'll leave them out here. We'll continue to feed on this ground out here, and so we're adding material to this field all the time. I don't move my chicken tractors to different fields every year. I don't do that. The problem is if we get too much nutrient on the field, then it becomes a problem. But you'll know if there's too much nutrient on the field. You'll know. You know, you won't have this superb growth like this, and I don't see that. So in my case, like, I have beef cows right on the other side of this fence, and they would trample these chicken tractors right into the dirt to get at the chicken feed. So, you know, where I have species close to each other, you have to be really diligent about fencing, and electric fences are your friend. You know, and I have milk cows up there, and I don't want them fraternizing with the beef cows. I don't want that. So we got to keep them separated. If they see each other, oh, they'll start talking back and forth, and before you know it, they got to get together and talk about things, right? So we have to keep them separated, and that's a challenge. The whole thing is a challenge. And then when you do something like this, like putting sheep in with the chicken tractors, it's kind of like, well, how is this going to go? Because the sheep, if they found a way in there to get at that feed, you would not be able to keep them away from these chicken tractors. No matter what you did, you would just have to move the sheep someplace else far away. They did get over into the bread. They found it, and then they just work at that fence to get through there to get into the bread. Everybody likes bread. And one of the ewes, too much bread, bloated, and died, which was a tragic loss. So that's, now that they're stuck on this field, we're going to see if this can work. There's a possibility sheep won't work on this farm because sheep are just sheep. But they can be really helpful because they live on grass, and we've got a lot of places on this farm where there's a lot of grass that can't be cut with machinery, and it's too fragile of an environment to let the beef cows in there. Beef cows, they really tear stuff up. They trample stuff pretty good, do a nice job, but some of they call it riparian areas, like in between different processes, are kind of fragile, too fragile for sheep. Like you wouldn't let a bunch of buffalo in there. I mean, for cows, but with sheep, it works out pretty good. Like I'm talking about, and this may be helpful for somebody else to see. Right on the other side of that fence is the campground, so there can be people there. I wouldn't want the beef cows in there with them. You know, it could damage their equipment or, you know, terrorize them. But sheep, you know, these guys can't terrorize anybody. So the sheep can wander around in here and do a pretty good job of cleaning this up and just keeping everything at bay. This many of them, what, 6 of them, they don't eat a whole lot. You can see the line where we moved them yesterday, maybe. There's a line right there. They took all of this down, but it took them a couple of weeks. And the way we probably should be doing it is keeping them off of this so this can regrow. We still have a lot of growing season left. You don't think about it, but we're still going to have some really hot days. This is Belle, and she's in here with Laddie, and they're going to get introduced to the beef cows today, because I'm going to put the beef cows in here, take this down a little bit, and also the whole pond area. That's where they're going to be living in the wintertime. That'll be their base of operations. So I'll bail them in here, and then their water will be the pond. That's kind of an interesting situation too. If you have 10 beef cows, big ones, they're going to drink 10 gallons of water per day, give or take. If I have to fill a trough like this, I got to have at least 100 gallons in there, and it has to stay full. You can't, you know, start running water into it with 10 beef cows, because they all want to eat right now. I mean, drink right now. So they'll tip it over, and you just have a real tough time keeping it full. But we have a pond over there, And you might say, yeah, but that's going to freeze in the wintertime. Yes, it is. The first time it freezes, we break out a spot, you know, maybe shoreline probably 6 or 8 feet. And you break it out, you know, maybe 3 feet in. And then every day, it's somebody's job to go down and break the ice. And you might think, well, that's really a hassle. Well, think about 100 gallons of water a day. That's got to come up from the pump. That's got to be pumped up out of the ground, out of our well. 100 gallons a day for 6 months. Right now, I'm not watering those cows because they have access to the pond. So it's a huge advantage to break ice instead of pump water. And if you're pumping water, you got to pump it through something like a hose or a pipe. And all of a sudden you have a night that drops down to 20 below, and now you've got frozen hoses or pipes. You know, it happens. But with the pond, 20 below means you're going to get a little warmer breaking the ice. You're just going to get a little warmer. It probably won't be me anyway, because the kids love breaking ice. They break ice when they don't have to break ice, but now that it'll be their job to break ice, they might not. It and then push it under, and it's really easy. And then the cows can drink. As they're drinking during the day, they'll probably keep it open. You know, and winter's kind of fleeting anyway, so that's how we're going to do that. And the beef cows are over on this side of the farm. The milk cows are on that side. The milk cows, their situation is completely different. So when we milk them, their milk goes in jars, half-gallon jars. The jars go in a trough where we have water trickling in. The water trickles out. It comes in at, 55 degrees, 54 degrees groundwater, but it trickles out at nearly 70 degrees. So then that water that's heated, we pump that with a sump pump into their water trough, and it's heated to like 65, 70 degrees. So then the cows think, ooh, warm water, love warm water, so they'll drink it. So we're kind of recycling that water. If I could catch their urine, I would, but that's a little tricky. I'm working on a system. But yeah, water management is huge, because you only, well, I hate to say this, you only have so much, but there's no reason to waste the water. An example of that, while I'm ranting, is in the butcher shop. We use quite a bit of water in there, and the water gets, like say you've killed a bunch of chickens and you're going to soak them just to cool them down. Well, now we've got water that's full of, blood and fat and some manure maybe, but it looks like chicken soup, and we're just dumping that down the drain. Well, that's kind of a waste. If that could be put out on the field, there's a lot of nutrient in there that the field could use and do well with, actually. And the blood and all of that stuff. And we do go through quite a bit of water when we do a processing day. Let's say you're doing 200 birds, not ours, but like custom. There's a lot of nutrient that's just being wasted. And so I'm building a system. I'm actually working on it today. One component of it, it's a water reclamation system just for the butcher shop. So that water will go into a tank. We will filter it down to like, I don't know, just the particulate would be no bigger than, say, 1/8 of an inch. And then that'll get pumped into a tank on a trailer that I can take out into the field and just open a valve on the back and spread it on the field. And if we get a kick out of that, hey, that's good. Because I know where it is draining right now, there's a garden right there, and right where it's draining, stuff has just gone wild. That's only going to work to a point because it'll get overloaded with that nutrient. The bacterial load won't be able to handle it. But if you start spreading that stuff on the field, and anything can go in there. Let's say that we have milk, we have blood, we have anything that's liquid that just needs to be disposed of can go into that tank. And you can let it sit in the sun, that's even better. Maybe we'll even hang a big tea bag in there of nice rich compost that we got from somebody else, to bring in a diversification aspect. That could work pretty good, I think. So anyway, that's water reclamation. That's species integration. And who knows, maybe we can integrate another species in here. Like, you could put bees in here. You really could. Because they wouldn't mess with the bees. The bees would have access to all the flowers. That could be something else. All right, I gotta go. Anyone can farm.